yourself doing writing or doing graphic design or doing web design, you have one of a few options. If you're the business owner, you can stay in the trenches doing your specific task that you love. And if you're going to do that, you're going to have a hard time. And it may be a better idea just to go get a job at a company. But if you're going to do that, then you should look towards becoming the operations manager of your outfit and then hire a managing director or a sales manager for your company. If you want to manage a company and grow it, eventually you're going to have to only focus on sales, acquisition, and growth. And you're not going to be able to do the things that your company actually does. So, I mean, you could be creating sprockets. You could be, like creating like little washers. You could be giving data analysis to companies, or you could be creating content and doing content marketing like I do. It doesn't really matter what your company does. You're going to be the salesman and face of the company.
Sure.
Eventually.
And you probably get farther and farther away from the original kind of genre of work the bigger the company gets.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
the business administration needs just get bigger.
Right, and that's why people that are CFOs, CEOs, CCOs, COOs, it doesn't matter if they're necessarily like in, if it's a COO of a tech company.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better probably, right, to go to another tech company as a COO, but you could go from a tech company to a finance company.
Yeah.
And you know the basics of what it means to be a really good and effective COO.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have that experience, though, you're going to have a learning curve.
Yeah.
And so my learning curve has been getting out of the trenches and learning how to offload the work that I built the company doing, and paying other people to do it for me.
Sure.
Well. And I only learned that because one of my mentors who runs an ad agency in New Orleans told me to do it.
What ad agency?
Rap Jab.
I'm from New Orleans, and I was just curious.
Yeah, he's the marketing. I guess he's the CMO for Rap Jab and one of the owners, and then he's also a marketing director for a theater group called the NOLA Project.
Okay, cool. I know Trumpet over there is great.
But yeah, his thing was get out of the trenches and get into the control center.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't mean to push you guys.
Thank you for that. Okay, so you mentioned before, I want you to kind of backtrack before you had to, back when you wore many hats instead of this one big hat you're wearing right now.
I'm still wearing many hats.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I have a team of 4 guys plus 5 is do with the intern. And the 4th guy is my grandfather, who's trying to take more and more of a back seat.
Gotcha. You mentioned a couple of roles that you took on, namely like web design, graphic design, all these things. And you studied English in school.
Mm-hmm.
You also mentioned that year you took off, or the year I'm assuming right after school, where you learned web development and WordPress, right? And was it in like a formalized thing?
Yeah.
What I'm wondering is how did you bridge the gap between that major in English to doing the kind of vast array of tasks you had to when you started your business?
So there's a couple answers to that. First of all,
try to put the question in the...
You're right. How did I bridge the gap? How I bridged the gap between my academia and my learning and where I'm at now, or when I started my company, wearing a lot of different hats, creating content, out of necessity. So I graduated with a double major in theater and English writing and rhetoric. As an actor, you have to have a pretty flexible schedule. If you want to go out and audition, if you want to do projects, you want to be able to do that, right? So I was working a lot of weird, odd jobs, did waitering, bartending, bussing tables, delivering food, all service industry stuff, and then I also jumped over and started doing crew work, stage crew, stage handing, corporate gigs, all that kind of stuff. It's a real burnout world, and I wanted to use my education. I wanted to use my brain. So I had already been doing web design a little bit as a hobby, and I knew graphic design from my time here. I started Transit Theater Troupe with a couple other friends, and so I did all the posters and stuff throughout college, and so I learned graphic design that way, and I also did video and stuff because I was in an acting program and trying to learn film and all that kind of stuff. But I did it out of necessity because I needed a job where I had flexible hours, and I didn't want to do these jobs where I was just like brainless. So I thought starting my own company would be an awesome idea. It turns out that's a lot of work. It turns out you know, like for at least the first few years, you got to work 70 to 80 hours a week most times. You can that varies depending on what you have workload wise. But I bridged that gap by starting to take a certification course for web design. And I kind of explained earlier how like once I started doing web design for clients, I saw the hole that existed with them and moved more of my focus and my sales focus towards content creation, content marketing. The fact that I had an English writing and rhetoric degree was a huge selling point and still is for a lot of my clients. Surprisingly. I guess I say surprisingly because there's a lot of other things that go into this, but when I tell someone, yes, I have a writing degree, it immediately adds like a layer of credibility that you don't get otherwise.
Yeah. That answered the question perfectly.
Awesome.
I'm gonna throw out a couple because we're super short on time here.
Yeah, sorry guys.
No, that's fine. That's totally good. Let's see. So just try to answer these briefly. And then
Yeah, you can feel free to cut me off too.
Cool. Okay.
I'm just gonna talk until you tell me to shut up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Austin pontificates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's also like an interviewing technique. You just stay silent and they keep talking.
Yeah. I should. I think I should cut you off more though. Not you're saying awesome things.
No,
just
dude,
at
I'm
the
super
same time.
verbose.
Yeah. Let's see. Is there any skills that you require now to do your projects effectively that you wish were more highlighted in your major?
Everything tech.
Good question.
Everything tech. The fact that you guys are learning WordPress at the university level is key. You should be learning much more of it though. You should know as a writer going out into the world. You should know programming languages. Know everything you can about the web because that's where everything is going. Know how to write in HTML. Know CSS. Know how to format digital content. Like know how YouTube works. Know how the algorithms on those things work. Learning all that stuff is going to put you way ahead of the grade because just being a writer now is not enough. You have to know how to do a multitude of tasks, and even just with blog writing, the fact that I know HTML helps. I use it every day whenever I'm actually doing blog writing. The fact that I know CSS and know how to do inline styles and know how to change the font with CSS sometimes helps. Doesn't always, but it helps to know the foundational knowledge.
Perfect.
Also, well, I think giving kids in the university setting the time to, or emphasizing the importance of taking time to dream and imagine and explore possibilities from within like the confines of what they're doing is vitally important, and it's becoming less and less of a focus in our world in general, is like taking time to be not just non-productive, but to like literally daydream about what they could do. Because as writers, we're trying to create something from nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to do that, you gotta have time to actually let the idea manifest. You can't structure your whole life and like, allocate every minute
Mm-hmm.
and then still have time to like actually let ideas grow.
Mm-hmm.
It may, but it's probably gonna stagnate a little
Yeah, you
bit.
have to get the direction before you
Yeah.
start running. You know.
Yeah. So like, you know, go to museum. Like, make sure that like people are being encouraged to consume culture,
Sure.
all different types. And like yeah. I think that that's a tough. It's tough. Like I said earlier, pedagogy is always behind industry. Drew Lowy, totally called that one of the first days of class, and it's absolutely true in every sense of the word in every industry I've worked in,
Mhm.
and it will stay that way
Mhm.
because you can never stay